Good evening, everybody. It is Sunday, the 23rd, at about 7 o'clock, 7:01. I am Seth Eisenberg. This is the Conservative Corner, so I hope you're in the right place. If not, you're probably in for a shock. But hey, sometimes it's good. Got to jolt the system. I hope everybody had a good week, as good as it can be being at work. Hope you had a good one. Hope you had a better weekend. Upcoming week should be short because it's Thanksgiving on Thursday. So it should be a pretty easy week. I don't imagine it'll be very busy. I think Thursday, Thanksgiving, or the day before Thanksgiving, is one of the busiest travel days in the holiday season, or maybe it is Thanksgiving Day. I don't know, but one of them is really busy. And then Friday, I think everybody's going to be passed out on the couch from all the turkey. I know I will be at work because that's just how my company is. They figure, hey, we'll catch one person. Won't pay to keep the lights on, but they want everybody there because that's just how things go. It's been a pretty busy week. Interesting stuff going on. So what I want to do is I have a special guest. I'll bring her on and let her introduce herself. She probably doesn't need to be introduced. You know who she is, but I'll let her do that anyway because her voice sounds better than mine. I sound like I'm like got a mouthful of gravel. I don't know what's wrong. I'm getting sick. That would be just great to be getting sick Thanksgiving week. Man, I couldn't make this stuff up if I tried. And of course, I got Damien behind the scenes controlling everything. So if I step into a big steamy pile, he'll be there to help me get out of it, hopefully, or he just might sit and laugh. I don't know. I would sit and laugh. But that's just me, and that's why I'm not in control of anything, because I would just sit and laugh at people. But if you could do me a favor, bring Elana on, and then we will get this shit show on the road. Ah, there she is.
What's up? I'm psyched to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Thanks for being here. In case some people live in the woods and don't have electricity and have never seen a computer, why don't you tell them who you are and all that fun stuff?
I'm just a lady in Florida who runs her mouth on the internet every day. My name is Elana Barbera. I'm not from Florida. And you can find me at The Based Mother on all the socials. So hopefully I'll see you there.
I know my camera's acting weird.
Like there you go. I can see your chin now. That's better.
I know. It was like up to here before. I was sitting behind my desk.
Like a little kid.
And now I'm like off there. Nope, yeah, God, stop messing with me. It just keeps moving on. There we go. All right. It's better than the best we'll get. So I don't know if Elena's usually on the Pulse with us on Wednesdays, every Wednesday. She keeps everything sane and everybody acting appropriately, or tries to.
Sometimes.
I'm a troubled person. And there it goes again. What is it doing? It's like, yeah, whatever, Seth, goodbye. And it's like slowly taking me off the stage. And I don't know why.
Well, yeah, there you go. There you go. That was
good. But it keeps like moving after I get it set. We're going to leave. Don't move, you son of a bitch.
Maybe it'll come back.
I hope. Let's see if it'll move. There we go. No, not much. Okay, I'll play on the break. So, Elena's here to help me talk about some things and get her insight because she's a pretty smart chick. So we're going to get her stuff. So the first thing we're getting into is this is breaking and interesting news. And again, like I always say, this is not breaking because I do my show on Sunday. This stuff happened earlier in the week. It's just stuff that I thought was pretty neat and just wanted to talk about. So I don't know if Elena's seen this, but apparently these are the actors in Hollywood who've come out against Israel, saying they're not going to work with anybody who does business with Israel. They won't do movies or anything like that. And I think it was Paramount. Yes, it is a company, Paramount. It just says Paramount, so I'm assuming Paramount Pictures. Leadership has not shied away from making its views on the war in Gaza public. The article went on and said Israel's an important issue. Larry Ellison is reportedly a close friend of the Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and has decided to blacklist all the actors who've come out and said we're not for Israel, power to Palestine. And these are just some of the mouthpieces that are going to find themselves out of work soon. But it is Thanksgiving, so I'm pretty sure they can find a job as a door greeter at Walmart for the next couple of weeks at the very least. But they've been very vocal about being anti-Israel. I mean, they have not been bashful. But it's good to see somebody's finally telling these people to shut up and just act. Like, nobody cares what you have to say. I don't watch Mark Ruffalo because I want to hear his political view on things. I watch him because I want to watch him turn to the Hulk. That's it. I don't care anything beyond that. What do you think?
Well, I don't think they're really paying any sort of a price. I mean, the fact of the matter is, all of the people on the screen, except the guy in the top middle, who I don't even know who that is, um, or the bottom right either, for that matter. But most of the people on the screen have enough money to write, produce, and distribute their own films. They're not really going to be hurt by this whatsoever. If some studios say we're not going to work with you, this is just good publicity for them, for all the people who agree with them. I don't really, I don't care that they've been quote unquote blacklisted. What bothered me was, a few years ago when you had actors, questioning things that were going on in politics or in the scamdemic, and they were blacklisted and they were smaller, like Gina Carano, who got kicked off of,
Oh
a
yeah,
Disney set when she wasn't a household name like these people are. She wasn't a big star, and she got shut down and squashed very quickly. So how many people have been blacklisted that we don't know about, that we didn't hear about, have been kicked off of sets, or not hired because of their political views, because they weren't they just weren't famous enough to garner attention. I think Hollywood is a cesspool, no matter how you look at it, no matter what side of any issue you're on.
right.
Overall, it's a dump with a few decent people in it. So whatever. I don't. If I don't have to look at Emma Stone's face for, I don't watch their movies anyway. Do you? Like, when was the last time you looked at a mainstream Hollywood film or TV show? I won't. I won't even watch their old movies. Once they're on my nerves, they're on my nerves. I don't care. Do you know what kills me? How much I loved The Godfather,
Yeah.
especially Godfather 2.
Oh yeah.
And De Niro did such a great job as young Vito, and that's it. I'm done. I'm just gonna have to live the rest of my life without The Godfather. I can live without it. It's a shame that these people can't just shut up and act, like you said, but whatever. They're not really paying any price. They're living in an ivory tower. There's somebody scrubbing their floors and rubbing their feet and cooking their meals and doing the dishes, and they don't have to lift a finger for eternity.
I think that guy in the upper middle is Javier Bardem. I think that's how you pronounce his name. No Country for Old Men. He was in the James Bond movies, the villain.
It's how long I haven't been watching movies that there are new major stars that I don't even know who they are. And I say new like this because it has been a long time that I've been sick and tired of Hollywood.
Well, yeah, and I agree. I watch old stuff. I don't think I've gone to the movies to actually see a movie in the theater in months, and I've had no desire to. I don't feel like I'm missing anything. And on top of that, I don't want to spend $95 for a tub of corn, and that is like stale, or $40 for a soda. It's just ridiculous, and nothing that good is that. All they're doing is redoing old movies because no one's got an imagination anymore, so they're just redoing stuff.
Yeah, I'm not watching this crap at home either, though. Like,
Well, no.
I'm currently in the middle of season 5 of Touched by an Angel, Seth. I just like the late 90s is as far as I go. And then I'm like, everything after that, they all got on my nerves for the most part. There's maybe a couple of exceptions.
No, I agree. I mean, Hollywood is self-serving. They don't care about anything other than making money and making sure they keep their 90-pound head. Speaking of that, my big 90-pound head in front of the camera and making sure everybody remembers who they are. And I think they stick with the most controversial things because that garners more attention. Or maybe it's just because that's the lowest common denominator. They find more people listen to crap like, pro-Palestine. More people adhere to that than they do anything else. So I don't even think they believe in what they're saying. I think they say it because they know people will listen.
Yeah, right. I mean, I think you can see political messaging even when you watch, say, 80s shows, 70s, 80s, 90s. There is so much political messaging that's subtle in every single show, and all the dialogue and all the settings and all the storylines. And I realized it took me a long time to realize. I didn't realize that I was being programmed also. And back then the actors didn't really discuss politicians, but they learned all these themes in their work, and they became experts because they did a Different Strokes episode about acid rain and climate change. You remember that one when
Yeah.
Kimberly's hair turned green? Yeah.
Oh, I feel old now.
Yeah, so they suddenly think that they are smart. They're educating us. So now they're the smarter ones, and they actually have the hubris to believe
Oh,
that
yeah.
as actors they know anything about anything. And not saying they're all dummies, because that's certainly not the case. Some of them are very intelligent. I use
What
that in air quotes.
what is, Dolph Lundgren apparently has a degree in microbiology.
Cool.
I didn't know that. The guy's, like, smart, like an actual scientist, like, he has a
Yeah.
degree and he could be a scientist somewhere. I didn't know that.
Yeah, many of them are intelligent and well-read, and then there's the other ones that when they open their mouths, you're like, "Oh, somebody didn't finish high school."
Greta Thunberg.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really don't put much weight into what actors say. I really don't. I mean, just
But
because you play the part of a lawyer doesn't mean you're a lawyer. Doesn't mean you've learned anything about the law.
but let me tell you something fun about right, you're absolutely right, but, Charlie Sheen, I just read this a few hours ago, it was good timing. He this is from, Hodge Twins.
Okay, yeah.
It says Charlie Sheen says he finally turned off the nonstop left-wing propaganda machine and started doing his own research, and the truth hit him hard. This is Sheen's own words. I felt really stupid. Just some of the stuff I bought into and some of the stuff I was worshiping and some of the people I was hating because I was told to hate them. That's a big admission for a grown man to be able to admit that he had been fooled. Takes a lot of guts.
Oh yeah, no, and I think if a lot of people took a step back and started doing what he did, there'd be a lot more people going, "Man, I'm an idiot. I believed everything they spoon fed me."
Yeah, but no lefty outlet will report that he said that.
No, heck no, no way, because they're right, we're wrong all the time. They can't admit that. This is my favorite person in the entire world. Next, he just there's just something about his face that I just want to like punch it. I don't know what it is, but that's Hakeem Jeffries, who
Yeah,
has been on everybody about Epstein. Trump's on Epstein's list. Pedophiles, blah 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 blah. It comes to light that he had invited Mr. Epstein to a dinner to beg him for money in 2013. This was after he was convicted of procuring a child for prostitution. Of course, I think one of the senators or congressmen read this on the floor, and Hakeem Jeffries was, "That's a lie. That never happened. That's a lie. That's a bald-faced lie." I don't think it is. I think I'm not surprised, number one, that there's dirty sexual predators in Congress. I'm not. That's nothing new. What I think is funny and not shocking, but funny, is this is an email from his email, his server. They read it, and he's still going, "That's not me. That's not me. That's my cousin." Or someone hacked my email and used my name and talked to Epstein and wanted to go meet him. It was not me. And you know
it's
what? Democrats will believe him. They will believe that it's not him. They'll believe that the Trump set him up. Trump's lying.
listen, they'll just say whatever they want to say. Two things. One, the reason you want to punch his face is because he is arrogant and condescending.
Oh yeah.
And really also I've met people who are arrogant and condescending who were brilliant and really good at what they did, and it actually negated the arrogance and the condescension. I'm like, I can put up with that because this is a really smart person, and
Right.
everyone around him is benefiting from the fact that he's a jerk. I have known that. I've worked for a guy like that once. Like, all right, gotta be a jerk. I don't care, but because you're awesome, you're like I'm learning a lot here. Um, this guy is not that guy. He's just arrogant and condescending without actually contributing anything valuable to the country. I find, he's one of those people that I just find it shocking that, anybody has ever voted for him. But did
Yeah.
you hear what Jasmine Crockett did on the floor around this Epstein thing?
No, I didn't hear what she did. What did that brain
So good.
surgeon do?
So she's up there and she's going, all right, what are the names? McCain Palin, Lee Zeldin, the Bush campaign, Mitt Romney, they all took money from a Jeffrey Epstein, right? So it is quickly disproven that it was the Jeffrey Epstein. It immediately comes out that this was a doctor who also is named Jeffrey Epstein who gave to all of those campaigns. So Caitlin Collins has Crockett on CNN, and she calls her out on it, which was
Good.
surprising, but good go Caitlin Collins, who, and so Jasmine Crockett was like, well, we on my staff only had 20 minutes to do that. So they did that. They got me that information. I only had 20 minutes. And she just kept saying, only had 20 minutes. They only had 20 minutes. So, we gave the best information that we had, like not even being able to connect the very next dot that like you should only share verified information. And she just would not apologize, would not say, maybe we should have taken a little more time to verify it, but I only had 20 minutes. So, so that's what we did. And she just dug her heels in. So then after that, the real Dr. Jeffrey Epstein put out a statement saying, I think I'm going to donate to Jasmine Crockett's campaign so that we can all say that Jasmine Crockett has taken money from Jeffrey Epstein.
Nice.
I mean,
it's
so with that parallel between Hakeem and her, like,
yeah.
I cannot admit wrongdoing whatsoever. I will not admit it. I will just stand here and be arrogant and hold my ground no matter how stupid I look.
Yeah, he's not a very intelligent person. At least he comes across not very intelligent. When you listen to him speak and what he says, it's like, dude, you're lucky there's not an IQ test required for this position because you probably would not pass. But yeah, he's got a mouth and he thinks he's a tough guy. I've heard him talk. You better watch how you talk about. What are you going to do? What are you going to do, Hakeem? What are you going to do?
Yeah, he's just like a bully.
Yeah.
But a powerless bully. Like,
yeah.
Again, he's a dog barking behind a fence. When you're walking by, there's a chain link fence and there's a crazy big dog barking back there. Like, just, hi, little dog. Hope you just keep going, this dog can't get over the fence. It's 6 feet high. That's who he is.
Okay, no, I agree. He's all bark, no bite. And
yeah.
I don't know how anybody takes him seriously. I mean, once you listen to talk for a couple of minutes, it's kind of like, dude, you are fucking stupid. How did you get this position?
Okay, short answer to that is because over the past 50 years, the Department of Education has completely destroyed American education, and Americans themselves are not educated enough and actually think that somebody that like him is smart enough to run the country. That's the short answer. They did this to us on purpose.
Now, when you did your documentary and you did all the school stuff, what was the most shocking thing that you learned? Like, what was like, oh my God, that can't be true?
That there are in 3/4 of states obscenity exemption statutes, and that means that if I show, let me put it this way, it's illegal to show a child pornography. If I go up to a kid in the mall or at the park and I show him a porno, I will be arrested and criminally charged. Okay. But if I show that same kid that same porno in a school or a library, call it education, I am exempted from criminal prosecution because it was for educational value. And those laws were passed in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, believe it or not. So I say this all the time, while we were all asleep at the wheel, the demons were laying the groundwork for the sexualization of children that we're seeing today. I could not believe that. And there were a handful of states that didn't have those. One of those, for example, was New Jersey, but New Jersey wasn't happy. So they went ahead and put one in. So now it was illegal to show porn to children in schools and sexually explicit material to children in schools and libraries. And now it is legal to do so in New Jersey. They just did that over the past few years.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So we're moving into the direction of demonic insanity across the country.
Now, when you found that out and you were talking to people, did you meet people that defended that? Like parents that said there's nothing wrong with that. It is educational to watch people having, anal sex. I mean, were there people that defended it?
Yeah, well, the original defense was that it was, to protect college teachers if they had a 17-year-old and they were teaching something. Then the next defense became, yes, children need to understand sex, and they didn't want somebody who was just going to be showing them, a health book, as you and I would
Right.
had health books, and have them be criminally charged. So it was to protect them. Now it is flat out children need to know about anal beads. It is their right to know about lube and, anal sex and, different positions and group sex and monogamy versus monogamy and all that, polyamory. So now now it's a right. So it's gradually, it started with a lie, and they don't even bother lying anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say, usually they tried to hide it from you. Now they just put it in your face and say, stop me. And you can't. You can't stop them anymore. Or, I mean, it's slowly turning, but as it is right now, you really can't stop them.
Yeah. They are determined. They are fully, wildly determined to sexualize children.
Now, the reason I asked you about that is because this next segment's about schools in America, going from like middle school, high school to colleges, and I call it the rot in U.S. schools. I mean, it's getting horrible. I don't even. So I know you heard. I don't know if you heard about this at university in Utah. There was 3 men who disrupted a Muslim prayer. I guess they got loud and were waving bacon around. 2 of the 3 men have been charged with a hate crime, I'm assuming they're looking at some serious time. And if we go back, last year, not even last year, when they were keeping Jewish students off of campus and wouldn't let them in the classrooms, nobody was charged with a hate crime. Nobody was charged with a crime. They were allowed to camp out on campus and take over buildings, and nobody really got arrested until the end when Trump said, enough's enough. We're going to do something about it. And this is at a higher learning facility, higher education. And what are they teaching them? That, it's okay to pick on Jews and Christians. That's fine. But the Muslims are hands off. You can't touch them.
All right. So let me just get some clarity, because I'm hearing about this one for the first time. So Muslims are praying, and they are being taunted by
Students,
a handful of students who are just waving bacon in front of them. Now, I don't like the term hate crime. I find it completely offensive.
Yes.
A crime is a crime. Anything that you do that is there is a victim on the other end is wrong. It is hateful. That on the law of, meaning to the letter of the law of what we consider to be crimes.
Yeah.
Taunting people is petty and not nice and ridiculous, and it is not the way to make a point with somebody. I think it's bullying with the bacon, but this is not. I just don't see how this rises to the level of a criminal activity. And maybe please help me understand that. And if somebody were taunting me, I mean, I'm a Christian. I have my Christianity and my God, Jesus, insulted almost daily on social media.
Yep.
Am I looking to press criminal charges? What is the difference?
You couldn't. A Christian or Jew can't. They won't let you file. You could file charges, but it would never come out as a hate crime. They'd be like, you know what, it's a misdemeanor. We'll take care of it. But the second you involve Muslims in anything, it becomes a national crisis.
Right, but I wouldn't even consider what happens to me to be a misdemeanor. It's just a jerk who I just tell them I'm going to pray for you, and that just makes the demons really mad. They don't like that. So, I will. I really feel like I need to pray for you. They hate that. So I don't see how this is criminal at all, and anybody can consider being fined or imprisoned for this. Now, again, I don't think we should, the Islamic takeover of our institutions and our political landscape, and the deliberate attempt to eliminate Christianity and make all of us Muslim is not something I am on board with. But I also don't think that waving bacon in their face is the answer, because I also wouldn't do that to Jews.
Right.
Jews also don't eat bacon,
but
they don't cry about it when I eat it either.
I eat pork. I dig on the swine.
One time you said something, words came out of your mouth. I wish I could remember the quote. You quoted Jesus, and now you're telling me you're eating bacon.
Oh, yeah.
Am I rubbing off on you? This is great.
I'm a walking contradiction. I'm an enigma.
Yeah, I think you might be converting is what I'm saying. You might be watching it happening in slow motion.
But to watch like all my podcasts back to back and see the gradual change.
Yes. Yes, and eventually you'll stop cursing and this will be a Bible podcast.
Yeah, that's happening next Sunday.
We got a few more Sundays till we get there, Seth.
But
So, yeah, so, I mean, I'm just disturbed that this is being treated as a criminal case.
well, like I said, it's because it involves. I mean, look at it this way. Okay, so we look at Israel. Israel's fighting the Muslims and killing them. Israel's wrong. You go to Africa, Muslims are killing Christians. You don't get a word about it. You get over here, Muslims doing crazy things in different cities. You don't hear anything about it. Somebody disrupts a Muslim prayer, you hear about it. It's none of this is by accident. It's not like, oh, we forgot to report this. It's like we're not reporting that. They have to. It looks to me like they're trying to put Muslims in the role of the victim. No matter what it is, they're always going to be the victim. So that some people go, oh, that's a hate crime. They shouldn't be doing that to Muslims. They're a minority. We should let them do what they want to do. Not knowing that this was probably not even that severe. It might have been the guy walked by and had bacon in his hand, yelled something, they kept walking, but they're going to charge you to do with the hate crime and ruin his life. And again, look at the college campuses where they were keeping the Jews out of class. Nobody got charged with hate crimes. Nobody did shit for months. They let them live on campus in tents and take over buildings, and nobody did anything. It was when it comes to Muslims, it's a different animal. It's always different. We got to protect them. We got to protect them.
Well, I'll tell you this, don't get too twisted about it because it won't last. Because remember the Me Too movement and the pussy hats and it was all about women, women, women. And then we got pushed aside and it was Black Lives Matter. And then they got pushed aside. And then it was trans lives matter. And then nobody cares about, that's getting pushed aside. And now it was like, MS-13 lives matter. And they're kind of going out of style just a little bit. And, now they need the Muslims. So it's like they're just their poster child of the week for divisive politics and having a cause. And, the Muslims better enjoy it while it lasts, because who knows what's coming around the bend with, fill in the blank lives matter next.
The only thing that concerns me, though, is because, at least in this country, we can see what happens if we don't do anything. All you got to do is look to Europe, and we can see exactly the effects of having Muslims in your country.
And I don't mean to make light of that.
No, I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying that's
but you are 100% right. In England, in London, something like every new baby is born Muhammad. It's the most popular boy baby name in London. I mean, it is not a white English city anymore. Now, and the rape culture is taken over. And that as a woman, that is like beyond the pale. I mean, to think that if I had a daughter, to send her out if rape was just an extremely common thing where I lived, I couldn't function.
No. And I think I read somewhere that in the Middle East and in some parts of Africa, as we already know that, rape is used as a weapon. They use it as a form of torture. When they get women or even men, they use it as a form of torture, which is completely against the Geneva Convention and all normal society. But nobody talks about that when it comes to Muslims. It's don't talk about that. We don't mention that. But if the problem is too many people are letting them play the victim role and not paying attention to what's going on. They're more concerned with being the most woke person in their neighborhood or the most, culturally sensitive person on the PTA at a cost. And they don't know that cost is going to be severe. And that's what scares me. Not so much the Muslims, it's the people that are supporting them that scare me.
It is scary. You're right. Well, that's the same thing with everything else that they supported. So the end results of, the women's lives, women Me Too stuff is that more women were placed into positions of power where they really don't belong in, and they're leading cities and institutions into the ground. You have Black Lives Matter that turned into taking the criminal justice system and making life the criminal justice system a revolving door and putting everybody back on the street. Look at how many people are dying. There's a young girl just set on fire on the Chicago train just the other day.
About that, yeah.
Yeah, he was. I want to say 79 or 72 times that guy had been arrested prior. So that was the results of the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, again, illegal aliens, they don't know about the Jocelyn Ungrays and the Ivory Smiths and even the Lake and Rileys they haven't heard of. And so that, they're just allowing it. And now here we are in this, the trans movement, all the kids who are now sterile and wanting to kill themselves because they realize they made a mistake in being tricked into this. And now with the Muslim thing, we are going to see the same things that we're seeing in England happening here. You are absolutely right. And like your analogy, like your point, that they won't see it. And the problem is they still don't see it, even all the things that we see with all these other causes that they took on because they were morally superior to people like you and me. They're leaving, a wake of blood in their in their rear.
And now they're bringing into schools. They're teaching like Islam in schools, in public schools, but they won't teach Christianity. They won't teach Judaism. They won't teach Buddhism. They won't teach Catholicism. It's Islam they're teaching. And again, nobody sees a problem with this. They're like, oh, any form of knowledge, education is good knowledge. And I agree with that. But if you're going to teach one religion, you have to teach them all. If you're going to take time to teach about Islam, teach about Judaism, teach about Christianity, teach it all. Then you can see it's an education.
New York City schools. I personally know a family who objected to their child being taught about Islam in the classroom in a New York City school.
And I've said it before, and you've heard me. So some people may not have heard me, which is crazy because I'm very loud. Islam is not about becoming a part of something. They're about dominating wherever they go. They don't want to acclimate. They don't want to become part of a country they're in. They don't want to become another community within that country. They want to be that country. They want the country to be them. They don't want to change it all. They want everybody to change for them. We can't. We can't. It cannot happen. And people, well, you're Islamophobe. No, I'm a realist. I can just look overseas and say, look, see what's happening over there? Do you think it's going to just stay there? That they're not going to get over here and get into our schools and teach our kids all sorts of things? And look at Dearborn. Look at all these other cities where they're at. That's what they're doing. Yeah. They're starting with kids and then bringing it out from there. And they've
announced that. They've announced that strategy.
Oh, yeah. They're not shy. Yeah. They're telling us, hey, I'm going to throw a right hand. I'm going to punch you in the nose, followed by a left. And everybody's like, well, what does that mean? That doesn't mean they're really going to hit us. Don't take it seriously. Dude, they're telling you what they're going to do. And you're just going to stand there and let them do it. You got nobody to blame but yourself. Stand up. You don't have to be violent. Just be loud. So, like I've told everybody when I ran for board of education, be that parent. Be the parent that when they walk into the school, all the administration's on edge. Like, oh, shit. Oh, no. What do we do now? Why are they here? Be that parent that they don't want to deal with because they know you're not taking their shit. You're going to defend your child. That's what parents need to be. Stop trying to be friendly with these people. They're not your friends. They are bureaucrats at the school level. Treat them like that. Your child is more important, not what they think or what they want to do with policy.
That is so important to know because when I was raising my child, I did not see the school as a poison well. I didn't see that the principal was just a union bureaucrat. I thought she was friendly. She was nice to me. She was nice to my son. I was friendly with most of the teachers. I thought this was a community school and this was going to be nice. Those very same people that my child went to, the Elliott School in the north end of Boston, which is a mostly Italian Catholic community, they are now teaching kindergartners about transgenderism. And with the same principal in place. And I'm like, I trusted this woman so much. She was never my friend. Yeah. She was in it for her job and her pension and whatever the union says she's going to do. And that's all there is to it. And she's in it, in it for the school board, the boss, at the top. And Boston does not have an elected school board. Boston has an appointed school board appointed by the mayor, which I think is way too powerful, but they will never change that. No. So you can't even get involved really at a high level as a parent. But nowadays, not you, like you said, not your friends. Get in there, know what's going on. Ask your kid every single day what they learned. And if they learned something that's wrong, get in their faces, publicize it. We have voices now. We have the internet now. We know how to do it. You know what? I I occasionally get stories from people and I share them. People reach out to me. I can't read all the incoming
Right.
stuff, but I love when I get something from somebody that I know and trust, and then I can share it. I'll be your voice. We got to do it because the schools are, or if you at all can just get your kids out,
Yeah,
homeschool,
homeschool.
please homeschool.
Homeschool.
You don't have to do it all yourself. Find the other homeschoolers in your neighborhood. Everybody takes a subject. People think that like, oh, I don't, they'll tell you that you're not educated enough to
You don't
do it.
have to be.
You don't have to be.
Yeah.
You don't have to be. You can teach up to third grade math. If that's your limit, trust me, somebody around the corner
It's a
is
genius.
is a genius and is homeschooling,
Yeah.
yeah, kids at that level. Like I'll be the home ec teacher, maybe history.
I'll be the gym teacher. All right, oh, hand, get off your ass, start running.
Yeah, let's go.
My son goes to a school where we live. It's by lottery. It's a Montessori school, and they bill it as smaller classes, more teachers, more hands-on, not so much organized as it is. Hey, here's your assignment, and the students figure out how to do it on their own in small groups. It was great. He won the lotto, got picked. We were ecstatic. I'm like, this is going to be awesome. It's a dumpster fire. It is no different than a public school. He was at recess. This was last year, I believe, talking to somebody. This is on, someone put it on YouTube. It's on video. It's there. He's talking to a girl and some kid runs up and just punches him in the side of the head. Now, before I go into that story, I don't know if you've seen Ryan. My son, Ryan, is taller than me. I'm 6'3". He's about 6'3 and a half. He weighs about 240, 250. He looks like a full grown man. So the kid that punched him was literally 5'1" and maybe 80 pounds, maybe. So I thought maybe it was a friend when I saw it. Like, was your friend playing around with you? No, it was a kid assaulted him. And Ryan took care of business. Like I've told him, if you don't start a fight, end the fight. You're nobody's punching bag. I don't care where you're at. You don't stand there and take a beating if you've done nothing wrong. So of course, we get called into school the next day. They're going to suspend him. I'm talking to the principal. And the minute we sat down and she goes, well, let me show you the safe room. I was like, yep, this is not going to go anywhere I want it to go. This is going to be a waste of my goddamn time. So she brings us into this room and goes, this is the safety room, whatever they call it, where people can come and calm down. And I was like, that's great. I want to talk about what happened.
That's the stupidest shit I've ever heard already. Okay.
No, I was like I said, I'm done with this. So we go into the office and we're talking. She's like, well, this is what happened. We have a zero tolerance policy for violence. I said, well, I have a zero tolerance policy for bullies. If you put your hands on me, I'm going to knock you on the ground. I said, ma'am, if you're walking to your car right now and somebody runs up and hits you for no reason, out of the blue, what are you going to do? Well, I'm going to call the police. I said, the police can't get there. What are you going to do? Well, that's not the point. I said, you know exactly what you would do and you'd fight back. And that's perfectly okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So we kept going and going back and forth. And I asked her, I said, do you have children? I said, if your children got assaulted, he did what my son did, he'd be in a lot of trouble. I said, you are the dumbest, smart person I've met in my entire life. I said, this conversation is a waste of my time. I said, the whole assault's on video. You don't want to watch it because it doesn't matter to you. You would punish your child for defending themselves. You have a great goddamn day. And I left because I'm not wasting my time. And at that moment in time, I realized the school system is not there to educate. They're not there to teach. They're not there to nurture. They're there to churn out workers.
I don't think that's true anymore. I don't think that's true anymore. I think it started as they were there to churn out workers. Now they're just there to churn out Democrat voters who are victims who actually don't know how to work, because workers need to be able, when you and I were growing up, they were churning out workers because we had to learn how to answer to authority and do what we were told without questioning. You know what? You got in trouble. You didn't go to the safe room. You went to the principal's office, and you are happy to be there because if you weren't there, you were dealing with your mother and father, right? And that was way worse.
Don't call my dad.
Yeah, right. Do it again. Yeah, right. Yes, I will. I will clean the whole library. I will. Yes, do everything. I will stay for detention. Right. So we were the ones that were being churned out as workers. It is not like that anymore.
You're right.
Yeah. And that's the problem, is that there is no discipline or authority. And that's where a little schmo like that will walk up to a kid on a dare or whatever it was that drove that kid to punch your son. because he also knows there really weren't going to be any consequences from authority. He didn't count on the fact that your son was going to be the consequence himself and take care of him.
How
Thank
you
God he
doing?
did. Yeah, like he didn't count on the
No.
immediate consequences. But what consequences did that kid face really in the end? Anything?
I think my son got 2 days suspension, the same as that kid. I'm like, well, that's ridiculous.
Ridiculous.
And they put down on my son's record that it was an assault. I said that was not an assault. He was attacked. He was a victim. Why are you putting it down that was a mutual combat? It wasn't a mutual combat.
Because it's not fair.
Oh, I know. It's what it is. It boils down to not fair.
Not fair for the assailant to be called an assailant.
Well, yeah, it's mean. All right, this next video, and I usually don't do this, but it's a warning. I'm going to give you a warning. It's graphic. It's disturbing, and it upset me when I saw it, and I'll let it play for a couple of minutes, and then we can talk about it, and I'll give you the background on it before we watch it. I guess that should probably be a little bit. Let me find the notes on this. You know what? I got to get more organized because I am just not organized. This happened in Rhode Island. A 16-year-old student at Rogers High School in Rhode Island, Newport, Rhode Island. He was arrested, and you'll see why, and charged with assaulting and whipping a special needs student inside a school locker room. Video of the incident shows several football players standing by as the assault took place. Even more disturbing, the video will show that no one stands up or intervenes or even tells a teacher what's going on. Superintendent Colin Burns Germain said, the victim was struck multiple times, including the face. So this is what I'm about to show you again. This is disturbing on just so many levels, and it upset me when I saw it.
Okay, Dada.
Say you're sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'm so sorry, Dada.
No, I said sorry. So sorry.
So.
That's not what I said. I said say sorry. I'm so sorry. Say it.
Sorry, Dada.
I'm not tell you to say that.
Hey.
Say I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
So sorry.
So sorry.
Stupid. Say all that freshman. You understand me?
Yeah.
Wrong with snitch. I'm snitching.
Alright.
You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was only 6. Stand
That
up.
was fine.
That was 5. Stand up, bro. 6.
That's enough of that. That's a special needs student. I think they said it was autistic. And they beat him and laughed the entire time they were doing it. That's why I say there's a rot in the school system, education system in this country. When I was in school, were there bullies? Yes. Would we have sat by and watched a bully do this to a special needs kid? No. We'd have beat him to within an inch of his life and left him there.
Absolutely. Yes.
Especially if you're on the football team, because you would have known, hey, if the coach finds out we didn't do nothing, we're going to get in a lot of trouble. We got to do something. Someone going to teach or do something, because I don't want the coach to find out that I was just sitting here watching this kid beat on this guy. But like I said, they've arrested I'm assuming they're talking about arresting the one that the video started with. The white kid, I guess, that started the whole video off. Everything else is still under investigation, which makes no sense to me. What are you investigating? It's right there on the video. All you got to do is watch it, get the names of the kids, and put them in jail. But it's still under investigation. And the sad thing is, this is not an isolated incident. There is stuff like this going on in every school in every state of this country every day.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like we just said, there's no consequence. What is it now? Restorative justice. We all sit in a circle and talk about what happened. Anti-bullying policies only help the bully. They don't help the victim, because you never get caught on the first infraction. It's always when you fight back, someone's looking.
Yeah.
And you can't fight back. You're supposed to stand there and take a beating and hope a teacher comes in, or one of the other students is not laughing at you, goes to grab a teacher and say, look, they're beating Johnny up pretty bad. You need to get in there. Then you need to worry if the teacher even wants to get involved.
Yeah. So they took discipline and they replaced it with an anti-bullying industry. So I forget the name of it, but October is Bullying Awareness Month, and there's a World Prevention of Bullying Day. And schools that month, they spend bazillions of dollars bringing in experts on bullying to hold assemblies and tell kids all about it and how to talk to each other and how to treat each other and be kind. It does nothing. Because at the end of the day, when there's zero discipline from kindergarten, by the time they're in 3rd, 4th, high school, they're wild animals.
Yeah.
They're not getting in trouble at home because mommy and daddy all across the country, a lot of people are not my kid. My kid doesn't do anything wrong. How dare you? How dare you punish my child? And it just the discipline isn't happening at home or in school, and it's all just talk. And like you said, we're going to go into the safe room, and what did you do? What did you do? Meanwhile, this is happening all over the place. That those boys, who were doing that. I mean, it could. There's a lot of reasons that they could be the way they are. One of them is that there's never been any consequences. Two, they might be abused at home. Three, there might not be a father at all.
Right.
Maybe they haven't taken enough beatings in their life. Either they've taken too many or not enough.
Yep.
And just to have a complete lack of compassion like that for a disabled, for anybody, but especially for a disabled
No, yeah.
person who can't really defend themselves, makes me sick to my stomach. I would bet they're not going to be expelled for it, and they should.
The teen suspect, and I'm assuming they're talking about the teen that starts the video off. The teen suspect has been charged with 2 counts of assault on a person with severe impairments. School officials say the investigation is ongoing and additional disciplinary action could be possible. When I first saw this video, my reaction was, as you can imagine, was visceral. Rage. And I usually am on the side of kids. I am the biggest advocate for children. I don't think I've ever spanked my son. Thank God he's a good kid. I don't think he's an angel, but he's a good kid. But when I saw this video, the first thing that came to mind was breaking arms.
Yeah.
Just bending it over my knee until I heard it snap and watching the kid's face. And that doesn't make me a good guy or a bad guy or a tough guy. That's just my reaction. The kid has autism. He has no idea what's going on. He has no idea why this is happening. All he knows is someone's hitting him in the face and people are laughing at him. He can't connect the two. And then these boys who are supposed to be mentally stable, who obviously aren't, are picking on this kid because they can. They won't pick on somebody like my son.
Yeah.
He's bigger than them. So they'll pick on the little weak kid. That's why I can't stand bullies. I can't abide by adult bullies. I can't abide by children bullies. I don't like bullies for that very reason. It broke my heart. My grandson is full on autistic, nonverbal. If that were my grandson, I'd have burnt that school to the ground.
Yeah,
Found out where those kids live, and I'd have done horrible things to their house. I would have done things that would have confused and dazed them for the rest of their lives. I hope those parents sue that school system into the ground. Hope they bankrupt them.
How and it's not just the kids that were doing it; it's the kids that were filming it.
And that's
There were
scary.
there were more kids in the room
Yes.
who were laughing along and just not saying anything, and that is really terrifying. That
That's the
group
scary part.
mentality. Yeah. And no shame. And so they probably, so how did this video get out? I imagine the kids who filmed it texted some other kid who wasn't there, be like, dude, look
Yeah.
at this. And then it finally got passed along to a kid who said, I got to show this to my mother.
Yeah, that's horrible. Or they put it on YouTube.
How many texts did it go through before a child finally saw it? There was a child with a conscience who finally said, this is wrong. I have to say something about this. I did see this, a school board member talking from that district about this. And she said that she's actively looking into anti-bullying programs because that's how she thinks she's going to address this. Like she's just another New England nitwit who's just going to, feelings her way out of this.
Now, I've only been around 53 years, so I don't know everything. I haven't seen everything. But the first 53 years of my life, I've never seen a T-shirt that says no bullying or a bracelet that says stop bullying, stop a bully. Never seen it happen. What I have seen happen is when someone getting bullied has had enough of it and then punches the bully in the nose until he breaks it. I've seen that happen and the bullying stop. Never once have I seen a drum circle, holding hands, hugging, or talking it out, stop bullying at all. And maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but that non-bullying, the anti-bullying stuff does not work. Here's the proof. It's right there.
Look at the mother and her daughter in Chicago who were walking home from school, and that pack of wild animal 13, 14-year-olds attacked and beat them up. I don't know what made them, what their motive was, just if it was just to be mean or they had words or something, it doesn't matter.
No,
I mean, it was like a pack of hyenas attacking this woman and her daughter walking home from school. I mean, I just could not believe the behavior. Those children have also gone through anti-bullying training at school.
Yeah, well, talking is cheap.
Yeah.
Now, this happened in Northern Virginia. It's a Naismith school is a really like high class, high end private school. The school had expelled Jewish children after their parents had complained of anti-Semitism behavior. People walking by saying "Sig Heil," you should die because of what you're doing in Gaza. Hitler should have killed all of you. Parents complained, and their children were kicked out, expelled from school.
Wow.
I guess they sued, and the school's like, "Oops, our bad. We're sorry. We'll bring them back, and we'll also teach the other little darlings all about the Holocaust and why we shouldn't do that." I don't understand why you would have to get sued to realize you should teach the schools, teach your children, hey, Holocaust is bad. 6 million plus people were killed simply because they were Jewish, and you're making fun of this Jewish kid. Do you not see how wrong that is?
Yeah.
And this is what they did. This is the picture they sent to the Jewish kids. Picture Hitler with a sword talking about he could kill all the Jews. Jews are bad.
I'll tell you this. I can see kids, even in our day, I could see kids handing this picture
Mhm.
to a kid because kids are jerks, right? Kids need that's why kids need discipline and guidance, because we left on our own end up in Lord of the Flies situations
Oh, yeah.
very quickly. So I look at this, and I'm not saying I don't fault a kid for this. I'm saying this doesn't surprise
No,
me.
not that.
What surprises and disgusts me is that the kids who received this picture were the ones who were punished and kicked out of the school. And again, like you're saying, you have to be sued to realize that that was the wrong way to handle this situation. Are you kidding? I mean, ew.
Yeah, like you said, when I was in school, I got the, people with Sig Heil, Jew boy, things like that. But if that got brought to the attention of the school, it was handled immediately. They
Yeah.
didn't play games. Like you got to the office, you told the principal what's going on, you got like a 2-day vacation, or you had to go to the guidance counselor every day for a week to talk to them. It wasn't like I got suspended for saying something.
Yeah.
Things have changed. I don't, like I said, there's a rot in U.S. schools. There's a rot at the core. There's a cancer that's eating it, and not enough people are seeing it. And not enough people are saying anything about it. They're just accepting it.
Listen, I'm still talking to people who are like gung ho about their kids getting into college, and I'm like, don't you have any idea what goes on there? They're barely educated because half the kids come in with remedial English and math skills. So entry level college classes are slowed down to
Yep.
keep up to them. They were let in because of quotas, half of them. Look at Harvard. Harvard's teaching remedial math now.
Mm.
Kids are coming in with middle school math level and being accepted to Harvard. So first of all, so that's just academically speaking, you're not getting what you think you're getting. And then your child is going to come out a raving mad lunatic. Or has a good shot of it. And then they're just going to contribute to the societal rot. And you tell that to people, and they're like, "Oh no, this school's not like that. That school's not like that." And I'm like, unless your kid's going to Hillsdale, High Point, some
Yeah.
hyper actively conservative school where they are on it, you're doomed, because all of the professors are just Marxist maniacs, and all of the education departments in where they're training our next generation of teachers at these colleges, they're training them to teach social activism. They're not teaching them to teach.
No.
And then they go out into our public school system. It's hell, man. But unless you want your kid wants to be a doctor or a lawyer, there's really no reason to go to college.
Trade school. I've been a big supporter of trade schools since I've been out. Looking back, went in the military. That's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But if I decided to further my education, I would have gone to a trade school. I don't think I'd have gone to college. Trade schools, you come out with $30,000 in debt versus hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. You have a skill you can use immediately. They will help you find work.
Yeah.
I don't know why people don't do that. And I know what it is, because I've seen the people with their kids walk by like a construction worker and go, if you don't get good grades in school, that's what you're going to be doing. not knowing the guy they're pointing at is making $90 an hour and probably
I
saying
know.
the same thing to his kids. Like, if you go to school, that's what's going to happen to you. You're going to be like that moron over there.
Yeah, go get yourself an IT degree.
Oh, yeah.
And you can't get a job because all the H-1B visas are being misused, and your jobs are being the job you are going to get is being given to, a foreign national, and you're going to be living in my basement forever. That's the real truth.
Elena's basement. Sounds like a horror movie. Elena's basement.
It doesn't.
It's summer.
Sounds like a place where liberals can go and come out and
There you go.
with a new perspective on life.
That'll never happen. They'll never change.
I live in Florida. I don't have a basement, so everybody don't get scared.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, come back, and we're going to talk about some more crazy stuff with Elana Barbera, and enjoy it.
America's Pulse Network. The mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.
So, yeah, remember, if you like what you're seeing, not just here, but on the other shows, and on Wednesdays we do the Pulse, remember to like and follow and subscribe with us, and then share us to everybody you know, even the people you don't like. Those are the ones you got to send it to more. Make sure they're following you. Send it to them. Send them me. Send them my stuff to the people you don't like. That'll be the best revenge you could ever have. Because if you don't like them, they're probably liberal, and the first time I say fuck, they're going to pass out and scream. So send it right to them. This next segment, I've entitled Enough, or Finally. We kind of brushed on it with the education system. Throughout the world, people are starting, and it's just a start. It's not full blown yet. People are starting to wake up to the horrors of Islam, the problems with Muslims in their country, and what they're doing to their countries. It's not just in America, it's in Europe, like we talked about. There are some countries, Japan, China, and a couple other countries in the Far East, that will not allow Muslims into their country at all. End of discussion. You don't get to come in. And if they find you, they deport you immediately for the very reasons that we're going to discuss here. Germany is finally, one of their ministers is finally saying, look, this is enough. If you support Hamas, we want you out of here. We're done. We're tired with it, because people who support Hamas are not peaceful protesters. They're not just marching. They're out assaulting people, assaulting police officers, causing public disturbances and problems in the cities that they protest in. I think we've lucked out a little bit in this country and not had it as bad as they do over in Europe when it comes to this type of protests. I think that's just a calm before the storm, though. I think it's going to get much, much worse.
That's a numbers game.
Yes.
That's the only reason it's still calm here. You know, Germany is a much smaller country. England is a much smaller country than us. It's easier for them to take over.
Well, yeah.
But wait, give us another 10 years at the rate we're going, doomed.
Oh no, I agree with you 100%, and I keep saying it, and I keep getting the nasty emails and texts. You're just a homophobe, you're a bigot, you're a racist. No, I'm not. I am not. I am a realist. I can look next door and see that my neighbor's house is on fire and realize, hey, that house is on fire. We should do something to stop that. I'm not ignoring it. I see it. I'm not making anything up. I see it. And I'm just telling people what I see, and they don't want to hear it. They don't believe. Oh, you're blowing it out of proportion.
You're a flamophobe.
Yeah, you're just making this up. You're exaggerating. It's not that bad. Just relax. Muslims are, it's the religion of peace. And okay.
Diversity is our strength, Seth.
Oh, I know. Diversity. It's how we become a country. Screw the melting pot. We're just a big mishmash of things that don't get along or work together. This lady's awesome. It's kind of scary that in any country that's not in a Middle Eastern country that you have to make a law that says, hey, we're not going to have Sharia courts here. We're not going to enforce Sharia law.
What are Sharia courts?
It's like a court for here. Like if you break the law, you go to traffic court or criminal court here. If you break Sharia law, you go to Sharia court. And I think it's imams and other people in the community.
So it's like a church, like more of like a
religious,
like a religious court.
Yes.
Well, that's an interesting concept. So, for example, the Bible, the New Testament, I think it's in the book of Corinthians, if people want to nerd out. It talks about how we are, as Christians, if we wrong each other, one of us wrongs another, we're not to go to the courts and for civil cases, the power, the government, we're to take it, resolve it within the church. If we can't resolve it amongst ourselves, go to the church elders and they will help us to resolve it, because it's really an issue of sin and not being right with God. Right. And so we use the laws of God to make things right between us within the church. So I'm assuming, without really knowing anything about this, that's what this is. I'm sure they're not taking outsiders in. So on the surface, I really don't have a problem with it, unless these Sharia courts are enforcing punishments or arrangements that are not in line, that break English law, in which case, and that I assume is the problem here. Because in the Christian world, we're not to break Caesar's laws.
Right. Render unto Caesar that which is Caesar's, and render unto God that which is God's.
Right. So that I assume is what's happening here. Tell me more.
Well, apparently, what little bit I've read about Sharia law, and I'm not an expert, I just started learning about it. Women are usually the focus of the law. They've broken some Sharia law. They've been out in public without a male family member escorting them. They've shown their face to someone other than their husband, committed adultery, things like that. And from what I've read, most punishments in Sharia law are very, very violent. There's no like, well, hey, you have to say the rosary 20 times and then, come to confession again. Nothing. It's usually like beatings. You're beaten or you were killed.
Yeah.
Sharia law is very final. We're not doing this again. Cut off their head, things like that. And again, I'm not an expert. I've just started reading about it, but what I've read so far is not pleasant. It's not like the Bible where, turn the other cheek or, help your neighbors, love one another. It's not like that. It's very,
very severe. It's
very barbaric.
Yeah.
To put it lightly.
And I am sure the things that I've heard, like stoning,
yes,
for certain offenses. That is definitely an offense to English law.
A little bit. They might frown on that if you're stoning people in town square. They might go, "Hey, what's going on here? We don't do that.
This is our business. Yeah, stay out." Yeah, no, that's not happening.
And then I've heard people say, "Well, they stoned people in the Bible." I said, "They stoned people in the Bible until Jesus spoke when he said, hey, let he who's without sin cast the first stone.' And then it stopped because nobody wanted well, I ain't throwing the first stone because that ain't right. I'm not doing that." So it stopped. He stopped it. Doesn't stop in Sharia. It just goes on and on. And if you want to compare the Bible to Sharia, and again, I'm not an expert. If you're homosexual and you follow the Bible, they're going to look down on you, be a little upset with you, but that's pretty much it. They're going to try to help you. Love the sinner, hate the sin. It's how it works. Sharia, they're going to toss you off a building. They're going to just throw you off a building and be done with you. They're not trying to help you. They're not trying to work with you. They don't care who you are. They're just going to kill you and be done with it. So that's the problem with Sharia. And again, it frightens me that countries actually have to come out and say, we are not going to have Sharia courts in this country. That should go without saying. But they're doing that in America. They have to come. They got what is a congressman saying now, we need to pass a law that bans Sharia law in this country. Why? What is the problem?
Yeah.
That's what scares me, that we have to make laws for people coming to this country, trying to bring their country with them. That's what frightens me.
We do need to ban it because the reason for that is that we need to have recourse. against it when it happens, because it's still going to happen. We probably have operating Sharia courts in America right now that we just don't know about. People are going to their mosque elders, and they are deciding on punishments and outcomes for people. And if those outcomes again are breaking our laws and are inhumane, we need to be able to have recourse and punish those people who are inflicting these barbaric practices on people on our soil.
Oh yeah, I think the easiest thing to do is stop letting Muslims in. Stop. That could be horrible. It could be harsh. That's fine. If you want to take it on a case by case basis, refugee status, fine. You can come in, but you're not just coming in because you want to be here. We're done. We're closing. We're going to follow Japan. We're going to follow those countries that say no. You're not coming in here because you don't assimilate. You don't become part of our culture. We don't want you here. I mean, a Muslim can come here and practice Islam. A Jew or a Christian can't go to a Muslim country and practice their religion. It's not allowed. But they expect us to acquiesce to them here. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, if you go to preach the gospel in some Muslim countries, you will be killed.
Yes.
Yeah. You're not just going to be asked to leave nicely.
No.
You'll be killed. And missionaries that do that have to go there under the guise of other business and hope to be able to maybe talk to some people in private now and then about Jesus.
And then you got to be careful, because the person they're talking to could run right out and tell there's a police force that deals with like the religious police that will come to your house and take you if you're not preaching Islam.
Yeah. If they find out that you have converted in some places,
they'll kill you.
From Islam to Christianity, even if you were born and raised and lived there your whole life, they will take you and they will kill you.
Yes.
So yeah, we don't, right. We do allow people to practice whatever they want here, and it's America, and that's great. But peoples that want to come here and overtake and destroy our way of life, that's really the bar. It's not about Islam per se. It's about, you want to destroy America and destroy our way of life. That's the problem that I have. And if that's, you meet that bar, you go somewhere else. You stay away, and you go, go destroy your own house, your own country.
Now, this happened in Dearborn this week. It doesn't really get into how they were protesting. It just says alt-right, now being a patriot makes you alt-right. Anti-Islam protesters in Dearborn were overwhelmed by Muslim activists. They were white people that were defending the Muslims. They were out there screaming and yelling at the Christians, well, along with some Muslim people with them, some Middle Eastern people, but it was white people attacking other white people for standing up against Islam. From all accounts that I've read, it wasn't violent. Nobody got violent on either side. It was like a shouting match, finger pointing and all that. But people are defending Islam, knowing that if this were going on in their country, some Middle Eastern country, and they were protesting Islam or protesting they wanted to be Christian, like you said, there would be no arguing. They would be killed. Immediately, they would just
know that? Do they know that's the type of philosophy that they're defending?
How can they not? They're being willfully ignorant at this point. They're choosing to ignore the facts. Like the gay people for Palestine. You know what they would do to you. You know it.
I know, but like Mamdani out there smiling and saying the LGBTQ community is all for, we're for them, and we're going to pay for transgender surgeries out of the New York City budget and all that. And all the liberal loons who've been indoctrinated in colleges are like, yay. And he's from Uganda, where they kill gays by firing squad. And in Islam, it is punishable by death also. So if they truly don't know the truth, there's no way. They're fooled by charisma and their bleeding heart. Again, their belief that they're morally superior.
I don't think they're fooled. I think, like I said, they're willfully ignorant. They know what would happen. They know what goes on there, but they're choosing to ignore it because they're just trying to practice their religion. We need to defend freedom of religion in this country. Everybody gets to practice their religion. We need to defend them. It's frightening, the willful ignorance these people display to defend a religion that, without a second thought, would execute them in their country. without a second thought. But
Yeah.
they're going to be out there marching against their own countrymen to defend these people. That's what's frightening to me. That's what's scary, the ignorance that these people display defending that religion. And I know people say, well, not all Muslims are like that. Well, you know what? I haven't met a Muslim that's condemned any of this. I've never spoke to a Muslim that says, you know what's going on in the Middle East is ridiculous. That is not Islam. I don't agree with it. That needs to stop. And I'm going to say it publicly. Never met a Muslim who's done that.
I too have never ever met a Muslim who speaks against the extremists. Where I've met loads of Christians and Catholics who speak against the things we do wrong. In my documentary, as you mentioned before, I went off on the Catholic Church because I knew that the lunatics on the left were going to go, what about the priests? So I put the priests in the movie just to negate their arguments. That's why I did it. But I speak against the Catholic Church. I speak against any pastor who abuses his role and hurts a child. And that's just like an example. When they're doing crazy things, they don't speak against them. They just stay silent. And that is creepy.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that there's none who don't. I'm saying I've never heard one. I've never met one who says those people do not represent us.
Exactly. Neither have I. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It's just I have never come across a person like that. I'm not saying they don't exist, but they also say the Loch Ness Monster's real. So I'm just saying I haven't seen either one.
I feel like we have a better shot of seeing the Loch.
I think we do it. And this just goes back to what I was talking about earlier with the gentleman at the university there in Utah being charged with a hate crime because they disrupted a prayer. It's out of hand. It's getting out of hand. It doesn't make sense to me. Like I said, the Jews they're kept out of class. Nobody was ever charged with a hate crime there. There are Christians being killed wholesale in Africa. Nobody's saying a word about that. But the second it's a Muslim victim, the whole narrative changes. It becomes, whoa, we got to protect them. We got to protect them. It's almost like we're letting the fox guard the chicken house now.
Listen, we got men shaking their junk in women's locker rooms, right? We got teenagers, kids, boys in girls' bathrooms in schools now and on their sports, breaking skulls. These people are all about foxes in the hen house. We're all about it. Because diversity is our strength has been imprinted on their brains.
I shouldn't be shocked, but I am. I can take all that.
It is. I know. But they do continue to shock us.
Well, yeah.
As the years are going on, I have said a lot of times, just when I thought I had seen it all, right? I mean, they keep coming up with new crazier stuff, and here we are.
Yeah. We'll take our last break, come back and talk about a couple other things and then see how crazy we can get and how close to exploding we'll be.
Welcome to America's Pulse Network. This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
This is so amazing and miraculous. We've never had a president in the history of our nation doing this. And we hope to God that he continues doing this forever and ever. Thank you. God bless you, everybody. And God bless President Trump.
And God bless you.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with the America's Pulse Network. I am the White House correspondent right here in the heart of D.C. as President Trump is celebrating 250 years of America and the military.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
Yep, that's Alexandra Levine. She is our White House correspondent. She's allowed to go out in public and speak. I am not, and there's a good reason for that. I do not hold that against anyone. I am happy not to be in public. That would be detrimental to the network if I were allowed to speak in public.
This is kind of public,
I know, but I mean, with like 1,000 people in a room or behind me, that would be frightening because I like to talk and I would just not know when to shut up. So we're getting to the last segment here. And we're kind of going to push through because I've enjoyed talking to Elana and we've kind of run over, and that's fine. I don't care. It's just things happen and I enjoy it. I don't know if you've heard about this, but this is going on. President Trump has ended temporary protected status for Somali nationals in Minnesota. Decision made in response to the widespread Medicaid and child care fraud that has drained millions from taxpayers in that state. I applaud it. I don't see the problem with this, other than what's it? Ilhan Omar is anti-American and doesn't like anything about America, and we're finally standing up to her and telling her people to get out. So she's upset.
Of course she's upset because she's going to lose her seat. And, if that really happens, if they really do drain that city, that's the only reason Americans are, I can't imagine many Americans are really voting for her.
No.
If we're having widespread problems in a non-citizen community, go home. Sorry. If you guys, again, you're not only not assimilating, you're not policing. You want to be left alone to just do your thing. But this is your thing, right? You're not policing yourselves. So you want to police yourselves in your Sharia courts? What is this going on?
It's fraud.
You're not doing it. You're clearly not doing it in a way that is moral and American and in line with our laws and our basic, standards of basic decency. Pretending kids had autism. You heard about this, right?
Yeah.
So they were getting all this money from the government for these autism treatments, and they had parents signing up kids being like, yeah, our kid's got autism. Like, just sign this paper, paying the parents like $1,500 a month, like just for their lies, and then filing all these false claims, and no services were ever rendered. So they had no expenses. And so they could pay the $1,500 easy and then pocket the other tens of thousands, and it amounted to millions of dollars. Like, that is, and that's our money.
I know.
It's state and federal money. And it's like, oh my God. So yeah, if this is what your community's up to, get out. Now, I mean, I am frankly lucky that they didn't throw the Italians out when they were, mobsters, but because I wouldn't be here right now, but I could be just fine in Rome.
But the mobsters took care of their neighborhoods. They didn't, if it was them that could do it, you can't. They were the experts. Like, we're going to do this crime because we know what we're doing. You can't do it. And if we catch you doing it, there's going to be some issues. They kept it clean. They kept it straight. They didn't mess with citizens. They didn't mess with everyday people. They met people in the life. If you're in the life, you're fair game.
And they didn't defraud the government. I mean, maybe they did on taxes with their income taxes, but like it wasn't like this.
No.
Where they were sticking it to the very government that brought them in, gave them free. They didn't get free housing and healthcare and all this stuff.
No.
All these NGO programs and take advantage of it. No, they were just doing business. And like you said, they were providing. I loved living in neighborhoods where the mafia existed. I never felt safer in my entire life. They did a better job than the cops. They did not mess around.
Now, this next one, I should have caught people off guard. She's decided to leave Congress January 5th. In a lengthy statement posted by her, she cited her growing disillusionment with Washington politics, blasting what she called a corrupt political industrial complex. She was a part of it. That she said uses Americans as pawns in an endless game of division. Americans are used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side could convince Americans to hate the other side more. As a result, and the results are always the same. Nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman that she's been a part of. I don't know if this is grandstanding or she's trying to make a point. I think this is all because Trump said he wasn't going to back her up for governor. I think he said, I'm not going to give you an endorsement. And I think this all started to go downhill after that. I think this is all a case of I'm going to take my toys and go home.
I don't know why she resigned and didn't just say, I'm not going to run again. I don't understand that.
That's why I think it's grand. I think she's like, look at me. I'm going to leave because of this. I think I don't think too many politicians have morals or integrity. I think some do. I think it's a rare commodity. I think maybe she has some, but I think this is more theatrical. I think there's something to it. I think she's doing this for a reason, and maybe she has plans to run for something, and this is the groundwork for that. But
yeah, I need to know why, because she said, she's falling under so much criticism and scrutiny, and she doesn't think that her family and her and her constituents deserve all this, and they don't deserve to, be, put through a difficult campaign with the president going after them and her. And like, it just, that to me wasn't strong enough of an argument because this woman could withstand that. Like she's a toughie. I happen to like her, and I don't buy her reason for the resignation. So I think you're right. I think this story is not over.
And I'll go one step further than that. I think she's a very attractive woman.
Yeah,
I don't think ill of her. I don't think positive of her. I don't know enough to have an opinion on her like that. What I know about her is a politician, and that's not a big deal to me. She seemed to be on the up and up. I mean, until we got to the Jewish lasers causing fires in Hawaii and stuff like that, kind of lost me on that. But I think in general, she cared about the American people. And again, I think there's something behind this. I think this is theatrics. I think she's laying groundwork for something. So, but I was kind of shocked to hear she was leaving. I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy. Like you said, why not just finish out your cycle and then go? But
yeah, I agree. And it's not adding up. And I actually do hope that this isn't the last we see of her.
I don't either. I like her. She's how I want to put it. She's the girl next door type person. That's why I look at her. I don't look at her as like a big personality. I don't mean that rudely, or don't mean to be derogatory about it. She just comes across to me like the girl next door. Very
Hillary Clinton, like polished politician, with all the degrees and all that. Yeah, she is. She does feel like somebody that we would know.
Like I would have a beer with her, and would never occur to me, oh, she's in Congress. Wow, I didn't realize she was that important. Wow, I didn't know that. And I think I think that's who she is. I don't think she's like, look at me, I'm in politics. I'm in DC. I'm important. I've never got that from her. Again, I don't know much about her, but just the few times I've watched her speak, she's never come across like that to me.
Yeah, I don't know everything about her. I do know that she's criticized the president a little bit, and that seems to be where they have a riff. And it's like, my thinking is she doesn't have to. I criticize the president sometimes. I don't agree with everything he says or does. I can support him and love him as my president and still disagree sometimes. And I don't know why this riff had to get so big. I mean, he kind of really made it bigger than it needed to be. I think he poured gasoline on a fire.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was more him than her. I think he made it personal, which he tends to do.
Yeah.
But again, that's just a New Yorker. That's how New Yorkers are. It's not just him being that way to her. It's how New Yorkers react to things.
Not all of us. Don't start.
My father's like that. He gets real quick. What? Son of a bitch. He gets real personal real quick, but then he backs off. Like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I apologize. It's just his initial reaction is boom. Come out screaming.
Fair enough. Who are you talking to?
Yeah, who are you talking to, man? So the last thing I want to talk about before we get out of here is this. I think it's interesting. This has always interested me. I think it's amazing. In Elana, I can't pronounce the town, so don't ask me. The sun set 3 days ago and will not rise again till January 22 in 2026. Almost 50 days of no sun.
Does this happen every year?
Every year. I think it's the most incredible thing. It's just incredible to me. I think that's amazing.
I bet there's at least a mini tourism industry.
There has to be.
There has to be, right? I would do that.
I mean, have you seen the movie, was it 30 Days of Darkness or 30 Days of Night? It's about a town, I think it's called Barrow, Alaska, which has the same issue. And vampires get there because they can go, hey, we're good. Sun ain't coming up for like 2 months. We're going to own this town. But I think that's just the most interesting thing in the world. I can't imagine waking up like on 4 days ago as the sun sets going, yep, it's the last time I'm going to see that for like 3 months. And then being cool with it. Like, oh, whatever. I got to go to work tomorrow. And wake up, it's like midnight. It's like, oh no, it's 6 a.m. What the hell?
Right. But I wonder, does it happen the same time every year?
I believe so.
Okay. Because if they take this town, which I also can't pronounce, and they just deck it out for Christmas, could you imagine 24 hours a day of Christmas lights? How cheerful.
That would be, because if that's how it looks now, it's very bleak.
If it wasn't Christmas time, I would actually say I would do this. I'm not going and spending Christmas alone in a town I can't pronounce in Alaska just for the experience. But I would actually go for 52 days and just see what it's like.
Now imagine this.
Right.
As cold as it is there with the sun up, can you imagine how cold it is there now with no sun?
Oh, let's see. All right. Can I just take a second and look up
Sure,
the
yeah.
temperature? We have time. I want to see what I gotta like legit
Because it's subarctic temperatures there during the winter as is. Like it's below like 30 below, 40 below, 50 below. Now there's no sun. Nothing to warm anything up.
wait, I don't want to do this. It's 12 degrees right now.
Oh yeah, no.
And it's what? Late afternoon.
Yeah, I can no. Once you get below like 15 degrees, it's cold. Doesn't matter what the numbers are. It's cold at that point. I don't need to know anymore. It's below 15. Yep, then it's cold. Don't need to know.
Although, I did live in Boston for a lot of years, and I walked the dog when the wind chill was 20 below. And you do what you got to do. But, you could get used to this. But what an interesting experience to just freeze your butt off in the dark for a month and a half.
I didn't know about the vampire thing. Like, crap. Nothing we can do about it.
That's exciting. That was a fun fact. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, thank you for coming on, Elana. I enjoy talking with you, and Wednesday's always fun, and having you on is always fun. You can come back whenever you want to. We can talk more about the students and the schools and all the crap going on there. Whenever you want to, just let me know. You can come back. I enjoy having you.
I love this. Thank you. Yeah.
You're very welcome. Again, this is Elana Barbera, the Based Mother. How can they find you?
At the Based Mother on all the usual places.
And like I said, check out her documentary. I've seen it. It's really good. It's right down the middle. It's not like favoring on one side. It's just facts, and that's what I liked about it. And you should check it out. And then, like she said, she's very, very reachable. If you got a question about it, shoot her an email. She'll respond if she can.
Yeah, and the documentary is free. It's free because it's really super important to know what's going on in our schools, and it's free. It's at AmericanGroomerFilm.com.
There you go. You got to check it out. It's worth it. And it's not like 5 hours long. It's direct and to the point, which is even better. You don't get lost in all the minutiae. It's just boom, here are the facts.
Yeah, it's quick.
It's very good. Well, thanks for coming. And I'm sure I'll talk to you before Wednesday. If not, I'll talk to you Wednesday.
Yeah. All right. Thanks again.
You're welcome. Have a good one. All right, everybody. That was Elana Barbera, the Based Mother. Great having her on the show. Very intelligent person. Has a lot of opinions that are mostly based in facts. And she's just really fun to talk to. I enjoy her company on here. She could have come to New Jersey and hung out with me and the Damons, but chose not to. We won't hold that against her. It's a schlep to get up there from Florida. So I can understand that. And before we go, usually I read an opinion of mine. It's sometimes based on the show. Sometimes it's not. This one really isn't, but it has to do with the upcoming weeks about Thanksgiving. From my family to yours, happy Thanksgiving. As the aroma of turkey and sage stuffing fills your homes once again, we pause to give thanks for this beautiful, rowdy, hard-won American tradition. A day that began when a brave band of pilgrims discovered in real time that collective farming is a spectacular way to starve. Then wisely switched to private plots and bountiful harvests and a 3-day feast with their new Native American friends who, let's be completely honest, probably brought the best recipes. We're grateful for the same things that have sustained us since 1620 and especially since 1776. A faith that still dares speak its name. Family members who can argue about everything from election integrity to whether the dressing goes inside the bird or blasphemy on the side, yet still reach across the table for one more dinner roll, and a country stubborn enough to believe that liberty, not government, is the main course. We're thankful for the farmers who got up before dawn while half the country was still looking for a safe space, for the veterans who kept the wolves at bay so we can carve turkeys instead of rationing crumbs, and for police officers working the holiday shift. And yes, even for the cousin who's about to explain how the Federal Reserve is a conspiracy, because at least he's free to say it out loud. We're thankful for butter, and lots of it. For grandmas who still say grace without checking with HR first. For kids who think Black Friday is just a day that Christmas decorations are allowed to come out of hiding. And for the dogs lurking under the table, certain that this year, that ham is finally going to drop and I'm going to get it all. Most of all, we're thankful for you, my extended, slightly irreverent, fiercely patriotic family, who refused to let this country forget what it was founded to be. You keep the stories alive, you keep the flags flying, the prayers heartfelt, and the memes savage. So pass the gravy. No judgments, no lectures, no calorie counts from the nanny state. Heap your plate high, cheer too loudly at the football game, sneak extra whipped cream when no one's looking, and when it's done and the dishes are done and the leftovers are stacked up like ammunition for tomorrow's sandwich, lift a glass. Lift a glass or a juice box, I won't discriminate, to the miracle that is America. May your turkey be golden, your pies plentiful, your conversation spirited but kind, and your heart full to bursting with the stubborn, glorious hope that has carried us thus far. Have a proud, loud, deliciously unapologetic Thanksgiving. With love, lots of stretchy pants, and eternal gratitude, the conservative corner, me and my family, to yours. That's my opinion. You don't have to like it. You can tell me to kick rocks, but it is what it is. So thanks for hanging out with me and Elana tonight. We appreciate it. As always, I appreciate you taking time out of your day to come sit with me for an hour and a half. I will be on Wednesday with the Pulse. Elana will be there again. We'll have Alexandra and the Damons will be there. And I will be on, we won't be on this Wednesday. That's right, because Thanksgiving is Thursday. We're going to put out a message from the American Pulse Network Wednesday for everybody. I will be back next Wednesday. Same bat time, same bat channel. Have a good weekend. Have a good week. Enjoy Thanksgiving. I will see you next Sunday. And remember, if you live your life according to a principle and not a political party, you're going to lead a pretty good life and leave something behind that your family can be proud of. Everybody have a good one.